Stop whatever you are doing and listen to me now. This is your moment. This is not an accident. This is not coincidence. This is your sign from the infinite that you are not alone, that your struggle is not wasted, and that your destiny is not over. When this speech is finished, you will have full faith in yourself and full faith in the God who never left you. But you must not drift. You must not waver. Listen with intention. Listen with decision, because the man who hears these words and obeys them will not be the same. If you are walking through darkness, if you have no applause, no help, no encouragement, this is not your ending. It is your training ground, and it is holy. You may feel alone, but you are not forsaken. You may feel forgotten, but you are being refined. For no man was ever born into greatness without first being cast into fire. The struggle is not here to break you. It is here to build you, to burn away the unnecessary, to expose the eternal, and to train the spirit of the man you were destined to become. The world will not tell you this. The world will mock your pain, overlook your discipline, and confuse your silence with defeat. But the law of life does not reward noise. It rewards obedience. And the first law of power is this: struggle is not punishment. Struggle is preparation. It is the furnace where your identity is forged. You do not become great in times of ease. You are made in the hidden seasons, when no one sees, when no one claps, when no one believes. That is where strength is built. That is where your voice begins to rise. That is where your purpose comes alive. I have studied the lives of men who rose from dust to dominance, and I tell you plainly, every man who ever achieved greatness was first broken down in solitude. The applause came later. The victory came later. But the shaping of the soul, the hardening of will, the formation of discipline, the communion with God, that happened in the dark. You must stop viewing the struggle as a curse. It is your calling. It is not a detour. It is the direct path to the man you are meant to become. A man is never closer to God than when he is stripped of every false support. That is not poetry. That is principle. When every crutch is removed, you learn to stand on the only foundation that cannot be taken from you: purpose. When you have nothing left but breath, you begin to speak truth. When the world falls silent, you finally hear the voice of your Creator. That voice does not flatter. It commands. It says, "Rise." And the man who listens becomes unbreakable. Look at Abraham Lincoln, mocked, defeated in election after election, betrayed, isolated, lost a child, mocked again. Yet he walked forward, alone, with purpose, with conviction. And from that furnace of personal hardship, he rose, not merely to power, but to greatness. He was not made in the White House. He was made in loss, in rejection, in long, bitter silence. He trusted something greater than man, and that trust became history. You must now make a choice. Will you interpret your struggle as rejection or refinement? Will you complain or rise? Will you collapse or continue? The man who stands alone but does not bow, he is more powerful than an army, for he has found his anchor in the invisible. He has found strength in stillness. He has found that even when man offers nothing, God remains, purpose remains, discipline remains, and that is more than enough. When a man has no one but still moves forward, he walks with the invisible power that created this universe. That is not mere inspiration. That is the truth of every man who has changed this world. He acted before approval. He moved before certainty. He persisted before recognition. He did not complain about the lack of help. He became his own help. He did not wait to be seen. He became visible through persistence. You must do the same. You are not broken. You are being built. Say that aloud. Feel the weight of it. You have not been cursed. You have been called. You are not being destroyed. You are being defined. The pain you feel is not the end. It is the start. It is the awakening. It is the alarm clock of destiny ringing in the ear of a man who has slept too long beneath his potential. You are now awake. Do not go back to bed. This is your instruction. Speak power even when you feel none. This is faith. Speak of where you are going, not where you've been. Speak of who you are becoming, not what you have lost. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a command. Faith is action without applause. Faith is declaring your chief aim with trembling hands and tired bones, knowing that your word holds more power than your circumstances. You will be tempted to speak weakness. You will be tempted to confess how hard it is. You will be tempted to rehearse your story of suffering. Do not. Your words are not decoration. They are direction. What you say is what you sow. If you speak defeat, you plant it. If you speak delay, you become it. But if you speak purpose, you grow stronger. If you speak vision, you walk in light. And if you speak faith, you rise, regardless of who is watching. Say this now. I am not abandoned. I am being trained. I am guided by purpose. I trust the struggle. Say it again. Let it enter your subconscious. Let it become your armor. Let it drown out the whispers of doubt and discouragement. For there is a truth more powerful than fear, more eternal than struggle, more solid than failure, and it is this. The man who trusts the struggle becomes the man God intended. You may feel tired, but keep moving. You may feel misunderstood, but keep building. You may feel small, but speak as though you were already great. That is not arrogance. That is obedience. That is alignment with the spiritual law that governs this universe. What you believe, repeated with faith and acted upon with persistence, will become real. You are not merely surviving this season. You are being forged by it. Every man prays for strength, but few accept the process by which strength is made. That process is struggle. That process is hardship. That process is what you are in right now. Trust it, obey it, and do not curse it. It is the fire, and you are the gold. In the days to come, you will want to quit. You will want to explain your hardship. You will want to plead for sympathy, but that is not your path. Your path is silence, vision, repetition, action. Your path is rising in the dark, speaking in faith, and walking with purpose when no man claps. And if you walk this path, if you obey this discipline, you will not be the same man 30 days from now. You will be sharper, stronger, clearer, closer to your calling, not because your life changed, but because you did. So I say it again. Let it ring within your soul. I am not abandoned. I am being trained. I am guided by purpose. I trust the struggle. Say it every morning. Say it until your subconscious accepts it. Say it until the old man within you dies. Say it until the world adjusts to the new you. The man who walks with God, with purpose, and with unshakable vision, he does not need applause. He does not fear the fire. He does not wait for approval. He trusts the struggle, and he becomes unstoppable. There is a sacred moment in every man's life, a silent hour, when no one claps, no one calls, no one sees. It is in that hour that a man is measured, not in the eyes of the world, but in the unseen courtroom of character. That is the moment where faith is either built or broken, when all external voices have gone quiet and you are left with only your own. What you say to yourself then determines the man you will become. Most men cannot stand this silence. They fill it with noise, with distraction, with the opinions of others. They are terrified of being alone with themselves because they have never cultivated an inner voice that speaks with power. But I tell you this, the man who masters the silent hour, who learns to walk alone without shrinking, without begging, without quitting, that man is unstoppable. What you do when no one sees determines what you will have when all eyes are upon you. The world rewards the visible, but it remembers only those who built themselves in the invisible. Men chase applause, but God watches in silence, and it is in that silence that your soul is strengthened. It is in that unseen hour that your integrity is either developed or dissolved. Integrity is not forged in public. It is tested in private. It is easy to speak power when others are watching. It is easy to act confident when surrounded by agreement. But when you are alone, misunderstood, and unsure, what then? Do you still persist? Do you still believe? Do you still act with discipline when no man is looking? That is where greatness begins. That is the place of proving. You must come to see the invisible trial as the gateway to real power. It is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to ask the question, can you be trusted with more? Can you lead when no one follows? Can you obey your vision when it produces no immediate reward? Can you keep going when it seems like no one notices or cares? If the answer is yes, then you are ready for the next level of responsibility. But if you collapse in the silence, you were never truly committed to the vision to begin with. Look to Thomas Edison, a man of imagination, a man of persistence. He was laughed at, ignored, dismissed by experts, and misunderstood by those closest to him. He failed not once, not twice, but thousands of times in pursuit of a single invention. And most of those failures happened in isolation. There were no cheers, no cameras, no one to say, keep going. But he did. Why? Because he had something greater than applause. He had inner belief. That is the power I want you to build. Not a belief that wavers with praise, not a confidence that dies when the room goes silent, but a foundation so deep, so steady, that you no longer require the world to approve you. You approve yourself. You become your own leader, your own ally, your own prophet. This is the mark of a man, one who does not need to be told who he is, but one who decides it and then walks it out daily, regardless of who claps. The man who waits for support before acting is still a child, and the world does not reward children. It rewards men who lead, men who build when no one helps, men who move forward in the absence of encouragement. That is when your soul matures. That is when your mind sharpens. That is when your discipline becomes unshakable. There is danger in needing validation. It makes your strength conditional. It ties your identity to the approval of others. And if that approval is removed, so is your progress. You cannot build anything eternal on the shifting winds of applause. You must plant your roots deeper. You must establish your power within. Only then will you rise like the oak, steady and unmoved by passing storms. So I give you this instruction. Each morning you will practice silence, not weakness, not wandering, but directed stillness. You will not reach for voices outside of you. You will not begin your day with complaint or fear. You will speak only of vision. You will declare your aim. You will command your own mind before the world attempts to command it for you. Refuse to speak lack. Refuse to rehearse pain. Speak vision. Declare your aim. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. You must train yourself to act as though you were already the man you are becoming. You must speak as a man who knows his value, walk as a man who fears no isolation, and think as one who is being prepared for a responsibility greater than himself. Say this aloud. I do not need applause. I need purpose. I do not need company. I need vision. Let those words become your creed. Let them anchor you when doubt creeps in. Let them remind you that you are not building a life for validation. You are building it for victory. And victory is earned in silence, in darkness, in solitude. The next time you feel alone, the next time no one returns your call, the next time the path feels empty, do not retreat. Smile, because that is the moment your strength is being tested. And the man who passes the silent test is the one who will soon command the crowd. But you must earn that. And you earn it by rising when no one watches, by building when no one believes, by walking when no one walks with you. That is the law. That is the way. And that is what you must now obey. Say it again, stronger this time. I do not need applause. I need purpose. I do not need company. I need vision. You are becoming dangerous, not to others, but to doubt, to delay, to fear. Because the man who no longer needs to be seen is the man who soon will be. Faith is the mightiest power known to man. It is unseen by the eyes, yet it shapes all that is visible. It is intangible, yet it moves mountains. Faith is not superstition. It is not idle hope. It is the invisible substance that translates desire into reality. It is the medium through which your dreams are given form, through which your plans are given breath, and through which your spirit is strengthened in the midst of trial. Without faith, your desire is only a whisper, but with faith, it becomes a command. You must understand that no man has ever achieved greatness who did not first walk in faith, alone, before there was any proof. Every inventor, every statesman, every builder, every leader was first called a fool, a dreamer, a madman. The masses mocked what they could not see, but the man of faith saw clearly what others could not, and he acted on it. That is faith, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. Let me speak to you now of Henry Ford, a man of vision, a man of persistence, a man of indestructible belief. When he declared that he would build a car the common man could afford, the experts laughed. They told him it was impossible. They told him to stay in his lane. They told him to obey the known rules. But Ford had faith, not in circumstance, not in permission, but in purpose. He saw it, believed it, and acted upon it. He did not have the approval of the world, but he had the inner substance of faith, and it was enough. What separated Ford from the dreamers was not talent, it was not luck, it was not education. It was his ability to hold to a vision when there was no evidence it would come to pass. That is what you must do now. If you are to rise, if you are to become the man God intended, you must walk by vision, not by sight. You must speak power, not merely observe your surroundings. Faith is not passive. It is not silent. It is a decision you make daily. And so I will give you the true formula for building faith: desire plus repetition plus emotion plus action. This is how faith is constructed. First comes desire, a burning want, a clearly defined goal. Without this, you are drifting. But desire alone is not enough. It must be repeated. You must speak your aim aloud until your subconscious accepts it. And you must speak it with emotion, not dead words, but words that carry conviction. Finally, you must act. Faith without action is fantasy. But when desire is spoken daily with emotion and followed by action, that is the furnace where belief is born. Faith can be installed. You do not need to wait for it. You do not need to feel it first. You can speak it until you believe it. What you speak with emotion, your subconscious accepts. This is law, and your subconscious is always listening. Every morning, every night, every time you speak your definite chief aim aloud with conviction, you are carving a new belief system into your very being. Now I command you, repeat your definite chief aim aloud every morning with feeling, even if your voice trembles. Do not wait for confidence. Speak until confidence is formed. You are not deceiving yourself. You are instructing your inner world. You are aligning yourself with the law of cause and effect. What you affirm with feeling and act upon with persistence must eventually take form. When you wake and your doubts begin to whisper, answer with truth. When fear knocks, open the door with action. When the voices say you can't, reply, I already am. This is how faith speaks, not in arrogance, but in certainty, not in volume, but in repetition, not in perfect circumstances, but in deliberate decision. Say this now. I believe, though I do not see, though I feel doubt, I speak power. I believe. Say it again, not softly, command it. You must become the loudest voice in your life. And if no one encourages you, encourage yourself. Speak life to your soul. Speak strength into your bones. Speak success over your day. Every word you speak is a seed, and what you speak consistently, you will eventually harvest. When all else fails, when the way grows dark, when your own strength feels gone, remember this truth. God has not abandoned you. You are being tested, not rejected. He is watching, not for weakness, but for obedience. He is listening, not for perfection, but for persistence. You are not being punished. You are being promoted. But faith is the key to unlocking that promotion, not faith in man, not faith in circumstances, but faith in divine law, in purpose, and in your God-given ability to become what you believe. Do not wait for the world to catch up. Do not ask for signs before you move. Begin now. Declare now. Act now. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. But you must speak with fire. You must act with boldness. You must declare your aim every day until heaven and earth obey it. This is not poetry. This is law. The man who speaks in faith, acts in faith, and persists in faith becomes a force that no obstacle can withstand. He becomes the man God intended. Not because he was given more, but because he believed more. Now speak this daily. Write it. Repeat it until you can no longer forget it. I believe, though I do not see. Though I feel doubt, I speak power. I believe. And then prove it by your action. There is a process that every great man must endure, and it is not lined with applause or reward. It is the process of isolation, not punishment, but preparation, not exile, but elevation. The world may call it loneliness, but I call it a sacred classroom, the forge where indestructible men are built. It is here, in the silence, in the absence of agreement, in the absence of support, that your identity is formed, not by the expectations of the world, but by the whisper of God and the decisions of your own soul. You must learn this. All transformation begins in solitude. Every towering structure begins with a foundation dug deep beneath the surface, unseen by the world. The deeper the foundation, the higher the rise. And so it is with men. You cannot build anything that will last if you have not first passed through the furnace of isolation and walked through it with decision, clarity, and purpose. Do not confuse being alone with being lost. There is power in separation. There is wisdom in withdrawal. There is clarity that only comes when the voices of the crowd are quieted. You cannot hear your soul when surrounded by noise. You cannot receive direction while constantly seeking approval. And you cannot discover who you truly are while clinging to who others expect you to be. Reframe loneliness. It is not a curse. It is the forge of personal identity. The man who cannot sit alone with his thoughts is a man who has not yet met himself. And until you meet yourself, you will never know what you are capable of. The world will call you cold. They will call you distant. Let them speak. They do not understand that solitude is not retreat. It is recalibration. It is here that men become decisive. It is here that direction is born. Every mastermind begins first with inner communion. Before you join forces with any external ally, you must first be aligned with the highest version of yourself. You must sit in the silence and speak only with truth, only with God, only with vision. That is where the seeds of destiny are planted, not in debate, not in public, but in the stillness of inner knowing. Andrew Carnegie, a man of steel, not merely in industry, but in conviction, spent hours in reflective silence each morning. While others rushed into the noise, he guarded his inner sanctuary. He fed his mind with vision. He controlled his thoughts before the world could do it for him. And because of that discipline, he became a man that industry obeyed. He did not react to circumstances. He dictated them. You must do the same. Do not fear the morning silence. Do not run from being alone with your own mind. That is the time when infinite intelligence communes with those who are willing to listen. That is the time when your future whispers its instructions. That is when the seeds of greatness are given to the man who has cleared his inner ground. So I give you this command. Spend time each morning with no voice but your own, no opinion but your inner vision. This is where direction is born. You are not obligated to begin your day with noise. You are not bound to the opinions of the world. Guard the first hour of your morning like a sacred altar. It is not for complaint. It is not for chatter. It is for construction. What do you wish to build? Speak only of that. Speak only of what you will create, never of what you have lost. Your loss is not your identity. Your past is not your prophecy. The only thing that matters now is what you declare in the silence and what you repeat until the world cannot ignore it. Let no negative word pass your lips before noon. Let no fear speak louder than your faith. Let no doubt remain unchallenged. Say this now. I am not alone. I am connected to infinite intelligence. My quiet is strength. Say it again. Let it rise from your belly. Let it vibrate through your bones. Let it become the lens through which you see your struggle, not as isolation, but as invitation. An invitation to build, an invitation to command, an invitation to create a voice within that is stronger than the voices around you. Do not measure yourself by how many people stand with you. Measure yourself by how long you are willing to stand alone. The oak tree does not ask for company when reaching toward the sky. It grows upward in silence, fed by the depth of its roots. Let your roots go deep now. Let your silence be filled with instruction, not insecurity. The man who trains himself to think with focus, to speak with power, and to act with purpose in solitude is a man who no longer depends on the unstable approval of the world. And that man becomes dangerous, not to others, but to mediocrity, to compromise, to fear. He becomes a force that no opinion can move. Controlled attention is controlled power. Your attention is your life. And your first attention each morning belongs to your vision, not the outside world. It belongs to your aim, not the endless commentary of others. Train your mind like a soldier trains his body. Fix it, focus it, command it, and do it before the day begins to pull you in every direction, but the one that leads to your purpose. Let this now become your daily practice. Rise in silence, speak your aim, repeat your affirmations, and visualize your purpose fulfilled. Do not check for applause. Do not look for evidence. That is not your task. Your task is discipline. Your task is obedience. Your task is to trust that the silence you train in today will become the strength you lead with tomorrow. One more time, say it. I am not alone. I am connected to infinite intelligence. My quiet is strength. And live as though it were already true, because it is. There is no greater thief of destiny than the subtle habit of complaint. No greater poison to progress than pity. No stronger chain around the mind of a man than the excuse he repeats to himself in moments of weakness. These things are not harmless. They are lethal. They are not expressions of struggle. They are declarations of surrender. And a man who surrenders to excuse will never know the power of decision. He will die with his potential still buried inside him. You must confront this now. Complaint is confession. Every time you speak of how hard it is, of why it isn't fair, of what others didn't do, you are reinforcing your own imprisonment. You are locking yourself inside a story that keeps you powerless. And what is worse, you are doing it with your own voice. To repeat your hardship is to cement it. To explain your excuses is to accept failure. It may feel good in the moment to let it out, but it always comes with a price. Your identity. You must now see complaint, pity, and excuse-making for what they are. The language of the weak man. The language of the drifter. The man who blames circumstance for his stagnation is the same man who refuses responsibility for his own future. He wants success, but only on the condition that it comes easily. He wants power, but only if someone grants it to him. He wants transformation, but he is unwilling to pay the price of discipline. But the strong man, the decisive man, he does not speak this way. He does not cry for sympathy. He does not beg for understanding. He moves. He acts. He decides. Not because he feels ready, not because the conditions are perfect, but because he knows that the man who acts wins and the man who waits is forgotten. Let me speak now of Charles M. Schwab, the man who rose from a humble position in a steel factory to become the president of the great United States Steel Corporation. Schwab did not wait for life to hand him a crown. He claimed it, not with arrogance, but with speed, with confidence, with decision. He did not delay. He did not hesitate. He made choices quickly and firmly, and that, more than his education or background, is what caused fortunes to obey him. He once said, "The man who does not act on opportunity is the man who remains where he is." That is not merely a quote. That is a law. The man who delays, who overthinks, who waits for every condition to be perfect before he acts, is the man who trades his future for the false comfort of indecision. And indecision is the seedbed of failure. Hear me clearly. You do not need to feel ready to move. Readiness is a lie. It is a story told by the part of you that fears change. The decisive man acts in faith, not in certainty. He moves when he hears the whisper of truth, not the shout of approval. He trusts the invisible instruction of purpose more than the visible permission of the crowd. And this is what you must now become: a man of decision, a man of motion, a man who acts in defiance of delay. It is not enough to think. It is not enough to dream. The man who remains in imagination will always be ruled by the man who moves in reality. No one rewards potential. Only results are crowned. So here's your morning instruction. Do not speak of lack. Do not prepare to fail. Prepare to act. When you wake, do not rehearse what you lack. Do not check to see if you feel like it. Do not wait for a sign. Begin with motion. Begin with declaration. Begin with action. Even the smallest act, taken in alignment with your purpose, is more powerful than the grandest intention that remains unexecuted. You say you are tired, then act anyway. You say you are unsure, then act anyway. You say you are afraid, good, then move, because action kills fear. Every time you act despite fear, every time you decide despite uncertainty, you are carving a new groove into your subconscious. You are building the identity of a man who cannot be stopped. You are training yourself into greatness. You are constructing the inner world that commands the outer world to align. And do not think your actions go unnoticed. Though the world may be silent, your Creator is watching. Though man may not applaud, God sees every step you take in obedience to purpose. He does not reward the complainer. He crowns the doer. The man who labors without praise is preparing himself to carry the weight of responsibility when the world finally turns its eyes to him. So if you would become that man, you must now destroy the vocabulary of victimhood. You must no longer speak in terms of "I can't," or "it's too hard," or "I'm waiting." These are the phrases of the defeated, and you were not made to be defeated. You were made to dominate your environment, not in pride, but in purpose, not to control others, but to command yourself. Now I give you a new declaration, one that you must speak aloud every morning before the world dares to challenge your belief. I am decisive. I am persistent. I do not need permission to move. Speak it. Say it again. Not as a wish, but as a verdict. You are not seeking permission to act. You are giving yourself the command. And with that command comes a new identity, a new momentum, a new life. You do not need to feel different to act differently. You act differently, and the feelings follow. Let me be clear. Every great man I have ever studied, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, Rockefeller, had one trait in common. They decided. They did not drift. They did not wait for certainty. They made up their minds, they committed, and they adjusted only when necessary. The man who does not decide is at the mercy of those who do, and the man who will not act is soon forgotten. So what will you do today? Will you rise and repeat the same language of limitation? Or will you stand, speak your aim, and act like a man who is finally done with delay? I give you no secrets. I offer no shortcuts. I give you law. And the law is this: the man who acts wins. The man who decides becomes. The man who refuses to speak excuse builds an identity that nothing can shake. So say it again, louder this time. I am decisive. I am persistent. I do not need permission to move. Let that be the end of your hesitation. Let that be the day your story changes. Let that be the fire that burns your excuses to ash. Because the weak man complains, but the strong man decides. Your words are not harmless. They are not accidental. They are not echoes of your circumstances. They are commands to your subconscious, instructions to your future, and blueprints for your identity. You do not describe your life. You create it by what you say. Every sentence is a seed, and what you repeat daily becomes the garden in which your destiny grows. This is not poetry, it is law. Let me make it clear, your subconscious mind is a recording device. It does not reason. It does not judge. It does not question whether what you are saying is fact or fiction. It simply receives, records, and obeys. What you tell it with repetition and emotion, it accepts as truth. And from that acceptance, it begins to organize your behavior, your perception, your habits, and even your opportunities in alignment with what it believes to be true. Most men are careless with their speech. They talk as if their words have no weight. They complain. They curse their own path. They speak fear, lack, confusion, and then they wonder why their lives reflect those very things. I tell you, you cannot speak failure and expect success. You cannot rehearse weakness and build strength. You cannot declare defeat and walk in victory. The tool you must now master is called autosuggestion. This is the principle by which you use repetition, emotion, and belief to speak new instructions into your subconscious mind. It is the daily use of speech to plant truth before the world has a chance to plant doubt. It is the act of speaking not what you see, but what you seek, until you see it. Say that again. You do not speak what you see. You speak what you seek until you see it. This is the difference between the man who changes his life and the one who merely reacts to it. The latter is a mirror. He reflects whatever is placed before him. But the former is a creator. He speaks what he desires until reality bends to match his words. You must now train your mouth to obey your vision. You must break the habit of casual negativity. You must end the cycle of lazy speech. From this moment forward, no negative word may pass your lips before noon. That is your instruction. Your mornings belong to power, not pity. Your first words belong to truth, not weakness. If you wake up tired, you will speak energy. If you wake up uncertain, you will speak clarity. If you wake up in fear, you will speak faith. This is not denial. This is discipline. You are not ignoring what is. You are declaring what must become. You are not lying. You are leading your inner world. And that inner world, through repetition, will become stronger than circumstance. That is the secret of every man who has risen from nothing to power. He mastered his speech before he mastered his outcome. Let me remind you, autosuggestion is not a trick. It is a transfer. It is how you move your vision from conscious thought into subconscious belief. And once the subconscious believes something, it begins to move all your behavior, energy, and attention toward making it real. This is why it is not enough to dream in silence. You must speak with sound. You must speak aloud. You must speak daily. So each morning, you will declare your definite chief aim aloud with energy and belief, not once, not quietly, but with fire, with repetition, with decision. You will say it until your bones remember it, until your steps reflect it, until your thoughts can no longer reject it, and you will not stop there. You will also speak affirmations, statements that align your identity with your aim. Do not wait until you feel like it. Your feelings follow your repetition. Speak power even if your voice is shaking. Speak life even if your circumstances are dark. Speak victory even while standing in the valley. This is faith. This is leadership. This is how greatness is born. Now say this with me aloud. I speak what I want. I plant what I need. I feed my faith with my voice. Say it again. Let it settle into your chest. Let it shape your mornings. Let it replace every complaint that once held you back. This is your new tongue. This is your new command. And from this command, a new life will emerge. And you are not allowed to curse your future with your speech. You are not allowed to poison your subconscious with doubt. You are not allowed to reinforce fear with your mouth. That is the habit of the defeated. That is the discipline of the drifter. You are no longer that man. You have outgrown him. You have silenced him. You have replaced him with a voice that speaks only what it will build. And what will you build? You will build confidence. You will build clarity. You will build vision. You will build action. And you will build all of it with the tools that were already in your possession. Your words, your will, and your willingness to repeat truth until it becomes identity. Every day you speak your aim aloud, you are building a man who will not be denied. You are reinforcing the foundation. You are hardening the steel of your spirit. You are rewiring your self-concept. And the world will soon adjust. It always does. It obeys the man who has obeyed himself first. So I leave you with your command for this morning. I speak what I want. I plant what I need. I feed my faith with my voice. Let that be your law. Let that be your discipline. Let that be your daily ritual. And never again let your lips betray your destiny. The man who is never tested should be pitied, not envied. The man who is left in comfort, who is never refined by hardship, who never feels the heat of adversity pressing against his soul, he is not blessed. He is forgotten. He is not trusted. For struggle is not punishment. It is proof that you have something to build, that you have been selected to forge something great, that you are in possession of potential so significant, so heavy, so needed, that it must be proven before it can be revealed. You may wonder why the battle has fallen on your shoulders. You may question why the path seems harder for you than for others. I will tell you. The lazy man is left in peace because he poses no threat. But the man of vision is tested. The man who begins to rise draws the attention of resistance. The man who speaks of purpose becomes a target of fear. The moment you declared your aim, the moment you stood up and said, I will, you awakened opposition. But that opposition is not your enemy. It is your examiner. It is the tool used by infinite intelligence to burn away the shallow, the fearful, the uncertain parts of you so that only the real man remains. The strong man. The man who can carry what he prayed for. The man who can walk into rooms and change the atmosphere because he earned his power in private. Do not resent the trial. Recognize it, bless it, thank it. Because the fire that surrounds you now is not meant to consume you. It is meant to purify you. It is the furnace where kings are shaped, not destroyed. And the man who survives it does not just win, he becomes a weapon of purpose in a world filled with weakness. But beware, the test is not only external, it is within, and it comes wearing many masks. The 6 ghosts of fear are your greatest enemies in the struggle. They do not attack with swords, they whisper, they delay, they cause you to question what you once believed, and if you are not vigilant, they will steal from you everything you were meant to build. The first is the fear of poverty, that persistent anxiety that there is not enough, that you are falling behind, that you will never catch up. It whispers, you're too late, you've lost too much, there's nothing left. And it causes many to settle before they begin. Then comes the fear of criticism, the voice that says, what will they think of me if I fail? What if I look foolish? What if I am judged? And so instead of moving forward, you wait, you hesitate. You begin to shrink your dream to fit someone else's opinion. The third is the fear of ill health, the fear that your body will fail, that you do not have the energy or strength. It makes a man fragile, focused on symptoms instead of solutions. Then comes the fear of loss of love, the 4th ghost, which binds men in emotional chains, makes them desperate for approval, addicted to permission. It says, don't rise too high, don't outgrow them, don't be alone. And so the man holds himself back to keep weak alliances intact. The 5th ghost is the fear of old age, the lie that it's too late, that your time has passed, that others have already taken the opportunities meant for you. It causes a man to retire before he begins. And finally, the sixth, the fear of death, the root of all fears, the lie that says, it's all ending anyway. Why bother? This is the fear that paralyzes, that silences, that makes a man spiritually dead long before his body follows. These ghosts gather when a man is in struggle. They do not haunt the drifter, for he is already theirs. But the man who decides, the man who begins to act, the man who dares to become, he stirs them up, and they do not go quietly. But you are not at their mercy. You are not their victim. You are their master if you obey the laws of purpose. Say this now: I do not shrink in battle. I am being refined. I will not waste the fire that is forging me. Say it again, this time with strength, with intention, with conviction. For your battle is not against man, but against the part of yourself that wants to go back to comfort. And the man who repeats this truth daily cannot be broken. Do not fear that your struggle is unique. It is not. All men who became anything walked through the valley of resistance. Abraham Lincoln was abandoned by allies. He was attacked by enemies. He lost elections. He lost friends. He lost his peace. But he did not lose his duty. He did not quit. He walked through the fire with tears in his eyes and resolution in his heart. And history remembers him not for what he suffered, but for what he refused to surrender. You must now do the same. You must thank your struggle, not because it feels good, but because it is doing something good. It is preparing you. It is chiseling you. It is shaping you into the only version of yourself that can carry the weight of destiny. Say this every morning without fail. Thank God for the pressure. Thank Him for the process. I am becoming who I asked to be. Yes, you asked for this. Maybe not in these words, maybe not in this way, but when you desired greatness, when you longed for purpose, when you asked to walk in power, you also asked for the process that would get you there. And the process is not pretty, it is not polite, it does not apologize for the heat, but it always delivers what it promises. You must now meet the fire with praise. You must answer the pain with progress. When it hurts most, speak most boldly. The enemy flees a man who walks in praise. When fear rises, raise your voice. When pressure comes, raise your standard. When loneliness knocks, answer with discipline. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual warfare. And you are not passive in it. You are a builder. You are a commander. You are the one who gets to decide what this struggle means and what you will become because of it. One last time, say it. I do not shrink in battle. I am being refined. I will not waste the fire that is forging me. Then walk like it, speak like it, build like it, and never again question whether the struggle means you are off track. It means you are chosen. You have come this far because something in you refused to quit. You have walked through 7 doors of fire, through silence, through doubt, through isolation, through pressure, through fear, and you are still standing. You are not the same man who began this journey. And if you obey what I give you now, if you anchor your life to these daily instructions, you will not recognize yourself 30 days from now. Not because life changed, but because you did. Let us bring it all together. Let us drive these laws into your mind until they can no longer be ignored, until they burn through the dust of doubt and the distractions of the day. These are not theories. These are not suggestions. They are commands. They are the foundation upon which a man builds power, purpose, and peace. Wake with purpose. No more drifting. No more waking up like a man who has nothing to do, nowhere to go, no mission to fulfill. Each morning you rise is proof that your work is not finished. Your breath is not random. It is divine instruction. From this moment forward, you will no longer begin your day in confusion or laziness. You will begin it with intention, with clarity, with vision. If you do not wake up with purpose, you will be pulled by pressure, and the man who wakes with purpose will always rise above the man who rises out of obligation. Speak your aim aloud. What you do not speak, you will not believe. What you do not declare, you will not pursue. Your definite chief aim, must leave your mouth twice daily, once in the morning before the world speaks to you, and once at night before the dream world carries your thoughts into the subconscious. This is not superstition. This is strategy. Every time you speak your aim aloud with energy and emotion, you are reinforcing your identity. And identity drives behavior. The man who speaks his vision becomes the man who lives his vision. Affirm your faith with emotion. Dry repetition is not enough. You must put feeling behind your words. You must speak like a man who believes, even if belief is not yet present. Speak until your subconscious accepts it as law. Speak until doubt is drowned in sound. Speak until you cannot remember who you used to be. Faith is not a wish. Faith is the daily decision to believe what has not yet appeared, and that belief must be installed, renewed, and reinforced every single day. Control your attention. Your mind is your kingdom. Guard it. Do not begin your day scrolling through other men's opinions. Do not open the door of your soul to doubt, gossip, fear, or comparison. Train your attention, focus it, master it. Because what you give attention to, you magnify, and what you magnify begins to shape your inner world. And the inner world always precedes the outer. The man who controls his attention controls his fate. The man who allows it to wander will always be ruled by men who do not. Reject fear. Fear is a liar. It shows its face in many forms: hesitation, procrastination, perfectionism, worry. But behind every mask is the same goal: to paralyze. You cannot defeat fear by avoiding it. You defeat fear by acting in its face. Speak truth in the presence of fear. Move when fear says wait. Build when fear says hide. You are not a slave to fear unless you submit to it. Stand up. Speak out and move forward. Walk alone if necessary. You do not need company to walk in purpose. If your vision causes others to fall away, let them fall. If your discipline offends those who love ease, let them be offended. You are not here to blend in. You are here to build. And building often requires separation. The oak tree grows tallest in the absence of competition for light. So walk alone if necessary, until you find those who walk by principle, not popularity. Act without hesitation. Every day, act, move, execute. Do not let your mind talk you out of what your spirit already confirmed. The man who hesitates loses momentum, and momentum is everything. You do not need to feel ready. You need only to be willing. Take the step, write the page, make the call, begin the task. Action breeds clarity, and clarity breeds progress. Refuse defeat. Temporary failure is not permanent unless you accept it. Setbacks are not signs that you're on the wrong path. They are signals to grow, to adjust, to refine. The man who refuses defeat becomes undefeatable. The one who endures the storm without surrender finds himself promoted to a level others never reach, not because he was smarter, but because he was faithful. Trust the struggle. The fire was never your enemy. It was your forge. Every trial, every delay, every moment of silence, it was all designed to build the version of you that could carry your purpose with integrity. Thank the fire. Thank the pressure. Thank the lonely nights. They were preparing you for the life you prayed for. God does not withhold. He prepares. And the struggle was his preparation. Now speak this aloud. Say it like a man who has passed through the furnace and come out refined. I am becoming the man God designed. I trust his timing. I walk through trial. I emerge in triumph. I am chosen. Say it again. Say it until your doubts go silent, until your fear breaks beneath your voice, until the old man within you no longer has air to breathe. And now, the final challenge. If you obey these instructions daily, if you wake with purpose, speak your aim, affirm your faith, control your attention, reject fear, walk alone, act without hesitation, and trust the struggle, you will be unrecognizable 30 days from now. Not because life changed, but because you did. You will walk differently, speak differently, think differently, and the world will have no choice but to adjust to the new standard you have become. But this does not happen by hope. It does not happen by chance. It happens by discipline, by obedience, by repeating these laws daily until they are no longer disciplines, but reflexes. You do not become the man God intended by inspiration alone. You become him through training. And that training begins now. So hear me once more. Wake up bold, walk alone if needed, and trust the struggle. It is the staircase to your crown. You are not empty. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are rising. You are building. You are becoming. And nothing can stop the man who walks with purpose.